the recording, and hopefully more will join us as we go along. I didn't hear, the only person I heard from was Susan Reiners that said she couldn't make it. So hopefully more will join in, Steve.
All right, that's fine.
Right. Yeah, you know what? I can always, let me talk just for a little bit and see if more people join. I don't want people to miss you, Steve.
Oh, that's okay. I feel it's like when I teach Bible or Sunday school, it's like no one seems to show up during those times. So I have that complex of
don't take it personally.
It's just me. I take it personal, but that's okay. All right, so
I know. You know, that is I read this book twice, and I'm going to share it with you. It's called The Four Agreements. Has anyone ever read it?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And one of the agreements is take nothing personally. And on top of that, you can't take even the positive things personally. What?
Yeah. You know who reads that book every year before he starts his season?
Santa Claus.
Your husband?
Tom Brady.
Oh.
Oh my God!
And he really lives by it, you know?
Yeah.
If you really watch
it's
it.
A great book. Every time I read it, well, it's only been twice, I take a different agreement to heart, you know? So it's just interesting. I'm trying to waste time a little bit, but it's not really working. So
are we going to talk about the module or?
Yeah, you know, yes, we're going to talk about the module for sure afterwards. I'm going to let Steve talk first. And he does a better introduction of himself than I do. I kind of botched it up last time.
No, not at all.
So I'm just going to let you start talking, Steve, and tell them.
Very good. All right. Well, I'm Steve Homoky, if you don't already know who I am. But I've been practicing for about 17 years now. Have treated thousands of patients, and I don't know how many total treatments I've done, but over the years. So a lot of clinical experience in doing acupuncture, doing different allergy desensitizations, and treating all kinds of issues. Now, what I specialize in is resolving the root issue of different food allergies or different digestive allergies. And I help mainly women, because that's who mainly comes to see acupuncturists, but mainly women that are just frustrated with either diet and the limited food choices associated with their diet issues or food allergies and so forth. So that's sort of what I like to specialize in. And and the reason I also specialize in that is because it works in every different area. And I'll get into a little bit more of that as we go along. But question that everyone always asks me is, why did I get into doing acupuncture? Okay. I have a bachelor's and a master's in petroleum engineering. I worked as a petroleum engineer for ARCO for 15 years. And but when my son Taylor was born, and he's now 25, but when he was born, he was essentially allergic to everything. And he had, projectile vomiting with milk, with breast milk, with whatever, severe diarrhea. By the time he was 2, he was, using nebulizer for his asthma 3 or 4 times a day, just to maintain his breathing. And we were going down the traditional Western approach to doing everything. And similar to what, I had allergies when I was a kid, and but I, did all the allergy shots, things like that. Well, my wife ran into a gentleman on an airplane who told her about this desensitization process to help get rid of food allergies. And so, she came back and told me, and I'm like, yeah, you're right. You got to be kidding me. There's no logical sense to it. It doesn't make any sense to me. But at that point in time, we were so frustrated that we didn't know what to do. So we went ahead and did it and started it. And they started doing the procedure. And then I even this is even crazier than what I thought it would be. But we kept doing the treatments because we had no other choice. It's like you either keep making everything from scratch and the kid's, sick his whole life, or you try something. And so before long, he started actually asking for foods that he didn't, we knew would get him sick. And so we tried a couple that, okay, yeah, you're going to get sick possibly, but it's not going to kill you. And he didn't have a reaction at all to it. And so, I mean, this is a matter of weeks and months and stuff, but they, so it's like, well, something's changed. And the only thing that's changed is doing these treatments. So it's like, whatever it's doing. And, it's like, at the point, he was 4 years old. So people ask me, it's like, well, it's just placebo. And it's like, I always answer people, it's like, well, if it is, so what? If I can convince your brain, your mind, there's not a problem, why do I have to give you a pill? And even Western medicine knows that, there's a very good effect of a placebo. If you tell a person that there's a pill is going to help them, the pill will help them, even if it's just nothing. The whole thing about Oriental medicine and acupuncture is we are affecting the brain. We're telling the brain to do something different than what it's normally doing. But anyway, getting back to the story, so I started doing the treatment, started feeling better. And then back in 1999, I had a chance to go back to school or leave my current career or my old career. And so I decided I'd go back to school, become an acupuncturist. 4 years of training, 3,000 hours worth of education. I graduated in 2002 and then have been working at my clinic here since then. And so that's sort of how I got into it, why I believe it, what keeps me going. So, all right.
Yeah, I sought out Steve for some dizziness and anxiety. Dizziness, yes, and it's really helped me. But then he was talking to me about food sensitivities and how he helps people with nutrients and things like that. So
right. So
just
we'll
was interjecting a little bit.
Yeah. So in Oriental medicine, there's essentially 4 pillars of health. Everyone likes 4 pillars. But our 4 pillars are all based off of energetics. So it's what we call chi, and then there's blood, and blood's the physical blood, but it's also the energetic blood. And then there's yin and yang. All right. Now, the way we get these is this is the energetics that make our body work. We're born with it, our genetics are there, but we have to keep replenishing it. So we have fuel. And the fuel is the air that we breathe, the food that we eat, the fluids that we take in, and then our sleep, all right? And so acupuncture is very good of helping those. So you take those inputs into what we call the engine, okay? And the engine in Oriental medicine is the spleen meridian. Now in Western medicine, the spleen does something completely different. So you can't compare the two, all right? So you just have to go with it here. But it's called the spleen meridian. It takes those inputs, especially food, and converts it into chi, all right? And then that gets converted into the other things, all right? So we want to make sure that engine is in tune and is working, all right? So that's the digestive system. Now, Western medicine has found that 80% of our immune system starts in the digestive system, all right? So that's why I like specializing in doing that, because working on the digestive system is usually the root cause of almost all diseases, at least that I treat, okay? And I treat a lot of different things, but the most thing I treat is that. And so I always start right there, right? Now, if the engine is not working well, then you have poor exhaust, all right? And in Oriental medicine, that exhaust is called dampness. And it's a term that is hard to explain in Western medicine, but if you were to, some examples of dampness would be like congestion, nasal congestion, bloating, feeling of heaviness. The body, you just sit there and you go, oh gosh, I feel terrible, I can't get going. That's dampness. All right. And so when you get dampness, some of the things that start affecting your body, the first symptom you see is fatigue and low energy. All right, it just wears you down. All right, and then as it goes on, you can get sinus congestion, allergies, athlete's feet, fungal infections, weight gain. Then you start getting into some more of the other more digestive issues. You can get joint pain like osteoarthritis. Sometimes when you wake up or something, your hands just feel real stiff, or your joints feel real stiff. That's that inflammation is what Western medicine would call it. We would call it dampness. Okay, so again, it all goes into that area of the body of working on the engine part. Now, if that continues on and nothing ever gets done, then that dampness turns into what we call damp heat, right? And in oil medicine, you got to have everything has to be either hot or cold or yin or yang or whatever. There's always a balance, but it's heat, right? So heat is just a more severe form of it. But in this case, you might get like chronic sinus infections or chronic bronchitis. Okay. Now, heat signs are like, fever, but like if you're coughing something up, phlegm that might have a little color to it or something like that. That's heat. I know it's yucky, but it is. That's what it is. Okay. But you can feel hot to the touch. So some of the other things would be just different digestive issues like IBS, Crohn's, lactose intolerance, all those kind of things that you hear all the time. Is just more severe form of dampness. But the whole idea then is to figure out what is causing that damp heat. Again, that's the root. Fix it, and then those issues will go away. But like IBS I treat that a lot. And there's two major components of IBS. The first is stress, and the second is food allergies, food intolerances, food sensitivities, whatever you want to call it. But that food is out of balance with the body. And when you combine the two together, then you get different digestive issues. So you get the stress, and then you get the diarrhea or constipation, or you get both if you're, so that's one that's very easy to work with within oil and medicine. I've helped people with Crohn's completely eliminate their symptoms. That's a harder one, but it's achievable. And then you come in, then you get more into your food allergies, the typical ones that you see are eggs and dairy and things like that. But there's a lot of things. A person, and I'll tell you that I do not diagnose allergies. Okay, I call them stressors, because what I do is I don't do allergy testing, but I figure out what's energetically stressing the body out. And I'm not a medical doctor, so I can't call them allergies. So they reserve that to the medical profession. But there's those, so you work on the sensitivities and things like that. So we treat a lot of different things. And like I'll treat things that you don't even think are causing a problem, like vegetables. Now, you might not have an exterior symptom of eating vegetables, but you might have an internal issue like bloating or things like, let's say beans, and you get gas. I mean, that's a problem, okay? And that's just a sensitivity. But then you can get to acne, you can get to acid reflux or GERD. Then also, high cholesterol can start going into the damp heat. And then you just go up and up and up, and then finally you get to the diseases that, nobody ever wants to hear about. But hopefully people don't get that far. Now, so that works on the root causes of getting the body in balance, to make sure that the food you're putting into it is the best. Now, the other thing is that if you eat too much of the junk food type of things, that what we call damp foods or damp heat foods, it's still, your engine can be working all you want, but if you're eating too much, then it's a problem. And so he doesn't want to listen to what I have to say.
Yeah, why didn't Craig stay?
Sorry, I had you on mute because I thought they just came home and you would interrupt.
Oh, that's okay. No, he's typical guy. They don't care. It's like, so.
I didn't even have a chance to tell him what we were doing, but I'm taking notes furiously.
Okay, very good. So if you eat too much of the damp foods, and damp foods would be too much sugar. So around Halloween, Christmas time, all that kind of stuff, you're eating those foods and you just feel bad. I mean, you just put a bunch of dampness. It doesn't matter how much the engine's working. If you put in bad fuel, you're doing bad, things. Excess wheat. I don't, dairy, things like that. I don't tell people to ever avoid anything. Because there's nutrients in all the foods. But we just have to make sure that, and I think, this is where Angie gets into is making sure everything's in balance. That, if you're not eating one food group too much, because you want to make sure you get the nutrients. And then the other thing is if you're just always eating the same thing, then eventually your body's going to say, I don't like it. It just naturally happens. But other like damp heat foods would be hot peppers. Okay, you get that. Alcohol. Any fast food would be considered a damp food. So Wendy's, McDonald's, any of those type of places, pizza, those are all going to be damp heat foods. Then and then what we call like the college diet, so beer, pizza, again, fast food. So those are all too much. So again, you eat too much of that, you cause issues. All right. So that's how, like I said, the digestive system, sleep is another component to your engine. And it's another one that I work on a lot. If it's not necessarily a major thing I work on, but everyone that comes in has some type of sleep issue. Again, working on those root causes will figure that out for a person. But, they might have a hard time falling asleep. They might fall asleep really easily, but they can't stay asleep. It could be because they just wake up or they have to go to the bathroom and then they can't go back to sleep. So, then you work on the bathroom issue. A lot of people will wake up in the morning and the first thing they do is yawn and go, did I even sleep? I slept 8 hours, but I don't feel like I rested at all. And that's another issue. And then that just leads to the chronic fatigue. And sleep is really important. People don't realize it, but Western medicines have done studies. And if you're supposed to get 8 hours of sleep. And if you get chronically, let's say you're going to get 6 hours of sleep a night, they've shown that your cognitive thinking can go down by as much as 40%. All right. So that's just, the college kids that are studying all night and all day to cram studying are really affecting their ability to even think and rationalize what they're trying to do. It's just hurting them. Same thing happens with us. We get so much going on that we can't even relax enough to go to sleep. So those are all issues there. So, all right. So any questions or anything? I don't want to talk the whole time. So I like answering questions.
I have several.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. So it kind of blows my mind that joint pain comes from food allergies, you're saying?
It can. It doesn't have to, but usually it comes from poor digestion. And it doesn't have to be poor food allergies, but it's poor digestion.
So what do you do about that?
Well, the first thing we do is, if a person comes in, it depends on the person, but let's say the person comes in and it's just a knee pain or an ankle pain, then, there's some different things that I might look at. It could be just an injury, but it could be an injury. There could be an underlying reason why that joint isn't healing. All right. Now, if they come in and they say, my hand joints hurt, my shoulder joint hurts, my hip joint hurts, my, whatever joint they want to mention hurts, then there's definitely an underlying reason of why that's going on. Okay. So you have inflammation. So what my job then is to try and figure out what's causing that inflammation in the body. And again, I start with digestion. It's always a good place to start. And that's usually where I start. It doesn't have to be there, but that's where I usually start. And so you try and get the digestion. I'm working on a young girl who's 13 right now. She's been diagnosed with GERD, but when she has headaches to go along with it, she has stabbing joint pain. She's also a cheerleader, so the mom says, well, we've always figured out thought the joint pain was just from growing and doing cheerleading. Well, when I test her body, it's every test I run, it comes back and says, no, it's the food that you're eating and the digestion, which makes sense because that's what GERD is. It's just a form of reflux. So I can't say that it's that, but I go through a series of tests, you come in as a new patient. I do what's called a case review, where we go into lots and lots of detail on things. And that gives me good ideas of how to make a personalized point prescription for you based on what I see. So.
Okay. So that covers my next question, because what I was going to ask is, like, if you have a couple of things going on, can they all be treated at once, or it's sort of like? Usually,
yes.
Okay.
Because usually I will find that we're related. Okay, so for example, I found out today when I treated this little girl, her headaches and her abdominal pain, and I forget what else. There were some others, but they're all related to what we call blood stasis. Okay, and stasis is just you have stagnation and you have stasis in oil medicine. Stasis is just it all it means is things aren't moving smoothly. All right, so I describe it as trying to drive around here in rush hour traffic. Okay. You go a little bit, you stop. You go a little bit, you stop, okay? And so what happens then, stasis is just a worse form, all right? So everything has a degree, all right? So blood stasis means that the energy in the blood is not moving smoothly, and you usually end up getting sharp pain with it. And that's almost a one-to-one correlation. So when you do that, you work on that. So when I was working on her blood stasis, yes, I was working on her headache and her joint pain at the same time. Now, sometimes they're completely unrelated, but I can work on both at the same time. And because a lot of times what I do is what's called a root and branch treatment, where the branch, I will use points for your symptoms. So let's say I'm going to work on a headache. I'll use points for the headache based on my diagnosis. But then I'll include other points. They're looking at root imbalances, okay? So things that are underlying that are affecting the whole body. So then therefore I'm working on the whole body. So it's a completely different model than the Western model, where you're gonna go to multiple doctors and get multiple pills and stuff for different issues.
Okay, great. Do you take insurance?
I do not, but I do. If your insurance covers it, or if your insurance covers acupuncture, I give you a super bill, and then you can file that yourself and get reimbursed. I don't like dealing with the third party people telling me how I want to do my practice and do my business.
Right.
So I let you deal with them, because what I do is I tell you what I think is the best, okay? And if that's 5 treatments, 10 treatments, 50 treatments, it just depends on your situation, okay? But I'll tell you what I think is the best way to approach it, all right? But if you're dealing with insurance, well, the insurance is going to say, well, we'll pay for 10.
Yeah.
And then what ends up happening is that the people go, well, I'll stay for 10 treatments. But I said, okay, that's fine, but you're not going to get better in 10 treatments because it's not the best thing. So there's other fields of healthcare that do that, but I don't do it. So.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Is the timing of, I mean, just say, you think the best method of treatments is 10 treatments.
Uh-huh.
Is that, and we're not talking about anything, that's a horrendous disease.
Yeah.
But if, in your time frames of those diagnoses and they do it as you, stated what was best, is it often just completely, I don't know if cured is or are the symptoms relieved? I mean, does it take that one treatment usually and you're good to go as long as you continue that path? How does that work?
All right. It's very rare that we can resolve an issue in one treatment. All right, except for the fact that, let's say you fell down and hurt your back yesterday and you came in to see me today. All right, well, there's a pretty good chance I can resolve that pain in one day, maybe two, and get you going back to where you were.
Okay.
Right? But those aren't the type of patients I see until they're actually my patient, and then they realize that, yes, I can go do that, and then they'll call me up and say, hey, I just fell, can I get in to see you? And then, yes, okay. Usually what will happen, and based on my experience level of treating, like I said, thousands of people and patients, treatments, is I have people come in for a free initial consultation, okay? And it's just 20 minutes, come in here, I do a real brief history, I tell you about what I do, I go over some additional information, things like that. But I want to make sure too that I can actually treat you, all right? Because you might have something that's like, that I just can't do, all right? And I don't want you to come in and spend $125 to come see me, initial visit, and say, I was like, okay, well, thanks, but I can't help you. And then we go through and just get some basic information. Then I have you come back and do more detailed case review where I go through, I'll give you the initial paperwork, and I go through and you fill this out. It's about 8 pages long of history. We go through it, figure out what's going on. That gives me a much more detailed information about what the root causes are. From there, I can come up and then I do some computer testing also. It's just another tool I have that really pinpoints almost exactly what you need to do. And then I can get that personalized prescription. And then based on that, I can come up with what I call a treatment plan. So I physically write out a treatment plan for you. And that's initially it's what we call an assessment phase, where it's a series of treatments. I don't know how many, because it depends. But we continue to assess you during that period, and then we do a re-examination after that assessment period. So there's a start and a stop, okay? So if we start and then we get to the stop and the body's like not responding at all, then it's like, okay, well, I've tried my best. There's something else going on. And usually if there's something else, if I'm not getting results, I'm not doing my job. I'm not figuring out what is that problem, okay? Then I go, okay, here we are today, and, we've eliminated X, Y, and Z, but you still have, ABC left or something like that. So then we recommend another series of treatments or something like that. And the timing of those treatments just depends on the severity of the treatments and so forth. But it sort of do things in phases, because the body, acupuncture is cumulative, let's say. As you move along, each treatment builds on itself. Okay, so initially I might have you here more often, but then as you get better, I don't need to see you as often, because you've sort of plateaued, and then it's just a little bit, and then we continue on. So I hope that answers that question.
That did. Thank you.
Okay, good.
Hey, I have a quick question. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
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 You can? Okay, great. So what do you feel, you said chi, so that triggered me to think, I do Reiki, and
Yeah.
so that's universal energy. So what do you think about enhancing acupuncture with another modality like Reiki?
I'm totally for it. Whatever works. I have that question all the time because I have a chiropractor in my office, and I have used to have a massage therapist here, and I get that question all the time. And people would say, "Well, can I do both?" I say, "Yes." It's only going to enhance it.
Right.
Neither of them are going to interfere with the other. You're only going to get better results. And I'll tell people too is, if you want to go to your Western doctor and continue that approach, it's not going to affect what I do. I've had lots of people where they've had affect issues for a long period of time, and taking medication, and I'll start treating them, and then lo and behold, their medication just starts working. So I don't know why, but it just starts working. So.
It's like that vitamin D story.
Oh yeah, the vitamin D. So yeah, so like I'll check people for vitamins and minerals to see if their body is in energetic balance with those items, and because every organ needs a mineral, and if your body is not absorbing those minerals, then it's not working efficiently. You can be taking supplements all you want, but if the body's not working, it's same with the vitamins. Vitamin A, B, C, D. D is an interesting one because a lot of times, particularly women will go to their doctor and they'll be low on vitamin D, so they give them a vitamin D supplement, which is nothing wrong with that, and they'll take it, and then they'll come back and do another blood test, and the vitamin D hasn't gone up or it's gone lower. So their response is like, well, how about more vitamin D? So you give them more vitamin D, and it just keeps going and going and going. But the blood test never shows that it helps. And so when you come in and do my computer testing that I do, it shows that vitamin D is energetically out of balance with the body, and you can do all you want. Your body's not going to accept that vitamin D. And then I do the techniques I do. I put it back in balance with the body, and the body says, "Oh, vitamin D is not an invader anymore. You think of it as friendly, just like a food allergy." And lo and behold, then the person starts absorbing the vitamin D, and they don't need the supplementation, or they just need a smaller amount of supplementation. So yeah. So like I said, I check a lot of things. So it's like, it's when you go and let's say you have, IBS and something, well, the doctor will tell you to avoid the biggies, right? Dairy, grains, sugar, those are the big ones there. But we check so much other stuff because it's amazing how many things people are sensitive to and not absorbing all the nutrients that they need.
And my biggest takeaway from the last time you talked was that people with these food sensitivities, it's not you help them so that sensitivity becomes accepted in the body. You help their body accept it. I'm probably saying the wrong words.
No, that's right.
And so that you can eat the dairy or the soy or the grains that your body is sensitive to. But this, Steve's
Correct.
treatment
Right.
help you keep eating them.
The whole idea is not to have to avoid things, because I'll be testing people, and I'll test them, and they'll see chocolate as a oh gosh, you want to see panic on someone's faces, tell them they can't eat chocolate. All right. And it's like, I can't give up my chocolate. And I said, well, you don't have to give up the chocolate. That's why you come to me, so I can fix it, so that chocolate isn't seen as an invader in your body, and you can absorb it and eat it, and it's no problem. Okay. That's why you come to me. Same thing with animals. People see animals on there. It's like, well, I'm not giving up my dog or cat. And I said, that's fine. You don't have to. So. All right. Anything else?
And it doesn't hurt.
I can't remember.
Go ahead.
I was just asking, did I miss anything from last time? I can't remember.
No, this was great.
All right.
I was just gonna add that it doesn't hurt and it's very relaxing.
Yeah, a lot of people, when I insert the needles, you might feel a little pinch, but after that, typically you don't feel anything. It's very relaxing. I have people fall asleep in my office, or not in my office, but in the treatment rooms all the time. I had one lady today, she was so out of it, she swore I changed the music and started playing Prince. And I guaranteed her that I would not play Prince over my speaker system while you're getting a treatment, okay? She goes, no, I swear I heard it. I said, you were sound asleep. You must have been dreaming about something, but it wasn't me. She's like, are you sure? So then she came out and asked Jessica, my front desk receptionist, were you playing Prince? She said, no. She finally convinced herself that she was dreaming, so.
Oh my gosh, that's so weird. Do you think it affects the brain too then?
Oh, it definitely does. Oh yeah, I mean that's where all the decisions are made, right? So the acupuncture points, needles, we don't know how it works, okay? And that's what baffles Western medicine, is that they can't figure it out. But all we do know is that inserting the needle does something to the brain, and the brain sends out a message to the body to change something. All right. And I don't cure anything. I don't really fix anything. The whole thing I do is get the energy in balance. So when the energy is in balance, the body can heal itself. Right. So that's the main goal, is for your body to heal itself. I just pointed in the right direction and move things around to get it in a situation where it can heal itself. And so, that's a big thing about it.
Very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I went to Steve for these specific things, dizziness and some anxiety. And he helped me with sleep issues. I didn't realize I had sleep issues and hormone weird stuff, and just even it's just he helps your body be better and help itself.
Yeah, one of the things you'll realize is, you'll come for an issue, but when you fill out the new patient paperwork or the case review paperwork, you start looking at some of these things. It's like, well, yeah, I do have a lot of these different issues. Now, a lot of them can be related. Like if you come in with seasonal allergies, you're going to do a lot of checking in the lung category for itchy eyes, sneezing, nasal congestion, things like that. But you'll have a lot of unrelated things. And when you start looking, it's like, oh yeah, I do have that. I started doing something new last week, and it's a daily intake form essentially. So when you come in, like when Angie comes in to see me, is it tomorrow? Yeah, tomorrow. Yeah. So when she comes in to see me tomorrow, she's going to have to fill out this little form, front and back, just yes or no questions. But I've had people comment that, wow, I didn't even realize I was having that problem until you asked me the question. All right. And so it helps me figure out things to help the other people with. So
I think I can relate to that because my whole life, I never really liked ice cream, and everybody thought that was weird. And I didn't like milk chocolate either. And I mean, honestly, like I definitely have lactose intolerance or whatever. I think it probably affected me when I wasn't paying attention, and just gave a signal to my brain to say, stay away from that.
Yeah.
And in turn, I just say I don't like it because, well, I thought I didn't, but I really don't. So
no, it's true. It's what happens when you have those food stressors is your body tells you that. Okay, you just don't pay. A lot of people don't pay attention to it. And let's say there's a particular vegetable that you don't like. All right, and more than likely, when I test you for it, it's going to show that it stresses your body out. It does something to your body. And the first response that people see is like, well, no wonder I don't like that. You know, when they see a big red line go across the page for something, they're like, oh, that makes perfect sense. I'll tell you a story here. I don't know if any of you guys know Bill Case, okay, but he's been a patient of mine for a long time. And he comes in whenever he needs touch-ups now. But when I first was treating him, we were treating him for his allergies. And I told him, well, we have to work on the digestive system. And I checked him and I said, well, your chicken stresses your body out. He's like, well, maybe that's how come I always get a stomach ache when I eat chicken. And until I told him, he never put 2 and 2 together. And so we fixed it. And now he eats chicken with no problem, you know. So, you know, the next time he's bringing in this laundry list, well, I drank coffee and I sneezed. It's like, okay, well, you know, that happens. It's like, you know, if you sit down at dinner time and next thing you know, you're eating a meal and let's say it's not real spicy and your nose you get congested while you're eating dinner. Well, something that you're eating is causing that congestion right there. Or if all of a sudden you just start sneezing and it's the same thing. Something you're eating is causing that issue right there. And over time, it causes other issues. And
Wow.
all right. Anything else?
Very cool.
Well,
All right.
I don't want to.
Thank you.
Thank
You're
you.
very welcome.
Yeah, that was very interesting.
Very interesting. Thank you.
No, you're very welcome. So if there's anything intriguing that you hear and you want to find out more about, like I said, I do the free initial consultation. You can just call my office and tell Jessica, and we can start there, and then you can get more information about it from there.
Yeah, Angie, will you put his info in the Facebook?
Yes, I'm gonna add that, and then Steve's information, and he's right at Spring Creek and
Hoyt, yeah,
Hoyt.
Oh, okay,
right by the Walmart. There's
Okay.
that Clinical Eye Center and the Lone Star Dental and stuff. Right, I'm right in that area.
Excellent.
So.
Southeast corner.
All right. Well, I'll let you go. I got to go to the 12th grade guys Bible study now. So.
Oh, okay. Thank
you.
you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, Steve. Thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
All right. So I'm just going to open it to see if you all had any questions from week 4. Right away. Shifting gears. I just wanted you to be aware of the things he does. That's quite amazing. I hope you don't feel like you were sold to at all. I just thought it was relevant to nutrition, food, and nutrients.
Yeah, and I mean the fact that how he can get your body to accept the nutrients that you need by just changing your energy flow is pretty awesome.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. And of anyone, like he was an engineer, so he's like,
Yes.
what? That doesn't even make sense. So, that's what. Anyway, I know his family and his kids. All 3 of his kids worked for me. He's a very honest man. He's not going to overcharge you or things like that. So
Yeah. You can tell from his purpose of why he's doing it that he's pretty honest. Sorry, I have a cat that keeps sticking her head over my camera.
Oh, I wonder.
That's why I keep doing this.
Yeah, I have used acupuncture for pain, but I never considered it, and I guess it didn't work for me, and I don't know why. Like it could have been I didn't go enough, or it could have been, there's nothing to help, it's too far gone or whatever. But I never considered like your digestive system being your second brain, and then having it affect your joints. Like I know inflammation affects your joints. I seriously know that because I've been on, and I am right now, an anti-inflammatory medicine, and it's like night and day, walking straight or limping. Like it really helps me so much. And I go off every now and then because it's really bad for your stomach. Like it's just bad. And that was one of the questions I was going to ask, and you might have an answer for it, Angie, is that, just like, if you take a medicine and it's, it's upset your stomach a little bit, and it's not, this one isn't completely crazy, but I've had some that do. Does your stomach repair itself eventually? Like if you go off all that stuff?
I'm sure it does, but I don't know.
Okay, I meant to ask him that.
Yeah.
I wrote down some questions to ask him on a piece of paper, and now and then I don't have it with me, so I forgot.
Can we submit them to you to ask him for us, Angie?
Yes, absolutely. So I will ask him that for you, because I'm going to go see him tomorrow. And
Sorry.
does the stomach repair itself?
From Western medicine.
Western medicine.
Yeah.
I'll ask him. Good. Got it. I wrote it down.
I did hear him say too about, the too much sugar is really dampness, like fast food and all that. But what I really was like alcohol and
that's worth it right there.
I just wondered if it was like wine.
No, in moderation, of course. Because the same philosophy Steve and I do about don't take out any foods. If you like wine, if you like your bowl of ice cream, well, go ahead and have it, just not too much of it. I know that's not the answer you want to hear, and that's what you hear all the time. It's just true.
Well, but I think too, really understanding, what is appropriate for you to have. I mean, I feel like I might not really understand what that is based on what he was saying. Like he could say, okay, well, have have 3 glasses of wine in a 5-day period or whatever. But do you think, is it just what we determine? And then he works on the energy to make it our bodies accept it? Or is it really just, no, there are limits?
That's a great question. I would have to ask him. I don't know, because.
Did that make sense? I felt like I was rambling.
Yeah, I think it did. I don't know how to answer it correctly with my limited knowledge. I know.
Wouldn't that be sort of?
Yeah, go ahead. Well, you say.
No, I was just going to say, you're saying, Christina, like he can get your body to accept anything. So if you really like fast food or sugar or whatever it is, like, will your body eventually accept it if you wanted to, or it's just really just not good?
Well, that's kind of the question. I understand that there's got to be some moderation and limitations, but in fast food, I think is probably some of the worst things we could be doing. But in terms of like red wine, my question was really related to, do I really know if 1 glass a night is okay? Or does he need to read my body and to understand that answer?
Oh, yeah. He never told me, if you want my personal, he never told me what was too much or where I should stop. I think it depends on, I think you probably do know when it's too much. Like for me, over 2, it's too much. That's too much.
Okay.
And I don't want to lose control, and so I stop. But I'm not an alcoholic, so that's just a different story.
I think that's a whole other thing too.
Right. I won't. Yeah.
But that's kind of cool to know that, hey, if you we're going to do these not so great things sometimes. So if we can get our bodies to work with it better, that is probably more healthy.
I guess so. Right. But I'm not giving you permission to just go
No. I know.
alcohol and sugar. Okay. Okay. All right. Well, good. Okay, so I know it's 6. This module 4, I got into, the Mindset Matters was about, asking for what you want and learning how to receive. How did that fall with you? Or since we're running low on time, if you didn't have any questions or comments, I'll move on quickly.
I don't have any questions.
Nope.
Great. Then, and you can always ask me in private, whenever. And then we talked about the garbage. Oh, this is the one. Yeah, I talked about inflammation, glycation, and oxidation. I only gave you, I think, a paragraph for each one. Tried to synopsis. I just wanted you, my goal was for you to learn what's happening in your body so you understand why. The more of the why, I'm going to tell you what to do and how to reduce inflammation, and this is why. So no questions about that. Turmeric.
Yeah, that one of those recipes sounded really good. I'm going to try that because I have heard, I've done a lot of like natural stuff for this inflammation issue that I seem to have, and I've had for a while because it affects my back too. But I just never knew how to take it, like in real form. Yeah.
Right. I have done most of these things. I put turmeric on my salads and my pasta. I put it on almost everything. And if you add black pepper to it, it enhances the nutrient absorption. So it's a great little thing.
Yeah.
And then we talked about oils, changing your oils, and the smoke point of oils, and what oils to avoid, and what fats to avoid. And I know there's been a recent controversy about coconut oil, but it's okay. Coconut oil is a saturated fat. It is at room temperature. It's hard, but it has a high smoke point value, and so it's heart healthy if you cook with coconut oil. It's a lot better than margarine and butter and some of those other saturated fats.
I did try, I tried coconut oil, and I tried it on the grill because I figured that's where, when I'm grilling stuff like vegetables or whatever, I put them in tin foil, wrap them all up. I used to use olive oil. But I honestly didn't really like the taste. So I thought, well, I mean, I still have some, and if I'm going to like do something like a saute, then I'll use it because that is too hot for olive oil. But maybe I also am just used to olive oil because I've been using it for years.
It definitely has a different taste. You are right. You are right. You could even mix it a little bit with olive oil. I mean, coconut oil and ghee, because the ghee kind of might balance out the flavor of that coconut because it is strong.
Does ghee have a high
smoke point?
Yeah.
Yes.
It does?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I put that on my popcorn once. Didn't you have something one time that you had
nutritional yeast?
Oh yeah.
That was nutritional yeast.
Did you put
I will have to make sure you all get that recipe. I know I put it, it's in one of the modules, maybe later.
Okay.
But it's popcorn. I just put kernels in a brown paper bag, like a lunch sack, and no oil. You just pop it in the microwave, fold it down for 3.5 minutes. But listen, of course, because it'll burn quick. And then pour it in a bowl and just a drizzle of olive oil and nutritional yeast, and it tastes buttery and kind of cheesy, and it's all healthy for you. It's my greatest fun snack that I love so much.
And can you get that nutritional yeast like where we've been getting other things, Sprouts or whatever?
I don't really go to Sprouts much anymore. I used to all the time. There's not one near me.
Kroger?
You can get it at Market Street over in the section where they sell like vitamins and things. I have gotten it at Tom Thumb, so I'm assuming it would be at Kroger. Is that what you asked me?
Yep. I'll let you know. I'm gonna get some.
You can also order it online. Yeah.
Popcorn's one of my favorite snacks, and I used to put butter on it, but now I drizzle it with olive oil. But if I can avoid and get another flavor, like a big, I'll be happy.
Do you want me to run and get the bottle so you see what it looks like?
Sure.
Hang on. Talk amongst yourselves.
So, and do any of you guys have problems with it's called carnivorous, right? Vegetables like broccoli and cauliflower and all that? I can't, yeah. Isn't it called that or something? Carnivorous or something? I don't know. There's a name for it. We'll ask Angie. There really is. And I get it wrong all the time, but I just can't eat those vegetables. I take a Beano before, but I don't like taking those.
Is it
cruciferous?
Maybe Steve can help me.
Yeah, you might.
Sorry. It was down on the popcorn level.
Oh.
Is it backwards?
No, savory nutritional yeast plants. Okay,
That's what it looks like.
Red Star.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
okay?
Oh, can I also say one thing while I'm thinking about it?
Yeah.
I went to Central Market, and I got because I'd been using some plant-based, just finishing up like a plant-based protein powder. So I went to get that kava. What's it called? Maca.
Maca.
So I went to get that, and they only had like something called Maca Boost, and then they had like 2 different flavors. One was like vanilla, and one was something else. So I got the vanilla one. Oh my God, it changed the entire smoothie flavor. So I brought it back because it was expensive. So I was like, I'm bringing this back. So if you see that, guys, I'm just saying, unless you like some funky flavors.
Okay, that's good.
Don't get the Maca Boost.
Good to know.
Good advice.
Yeah, try it though, Angie, just so you know, because I gave you a little bit. Yeah.
You did. Yeah.
And
I have.
Okay, we were talking while you were gone. What is the vegetable called, like the family, broccoli and cauliflower, cabbage, and all those? Crucifix? Crucifixion? Cruciferous.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I'm pretty sure I'm allergic to that, or my body doesn't tolerate it.
All those, yeah. Well, all those like heads,
Yeah.
heads of things.
Yeah, and they're good for you. So,
well, that's all right. We'll find something else for you. That's good. All right. Okay. Oh, and then I got into the polyunsaturated fats, which are broken down into omega-6s and omega-3s. And the standard American diet has us eating so many omega-6s and not enough omega-3s, and it's really the ratio that's important. So I wanted to make sure you're aware of that. I eat salmon probably once a week, not twice a week. And so I do take an omega-3 supplement. Now, supplements are coming up in a later module, so I don't want you to worry about that right now. But it's just
that was another question I had. All right, so I know salmon's good for you too. It's not my favorite. I have to marinate it and cook it a certain way. But I like tuna, and I like tuna sushi, and then I also like tuna in a can. But tuna used to be like you couldn't eat it more than one, because the mercury level, like once a week or something. Definitely when you were pregnant, they told you not to.
Right, I remember that.
Is that the same for salmon? Or no? You could easily.
No, it doesn't have the omega-3s like salmon does. Okay. The tuna does. But tuna's still healthy for you. Yeah, it's great. It's awesome. Good job. Yeah, if you don't like the taste of salmon, is it this one that I talk about, azaxanthin? No, later on in another module, I'm going to introduce to you azaxanthin, which is the pink coloring of salmon, and how to get that in your diet as well. Dr. Sears wrote a whole book on it.
Oh my God.
I read the book.
Wow.
Yeah. It's amazing. So honestly, Linda, you know, if you're not eating salmon or adding flax seeds or flax oils to your diet, you'll probably want to be taking a supplement, a high quality supplement of omega-3, just to get that ratio up.
Okay. I put flax in my smoothies. I have one every day, but I don't know if that's enough.
Probably need a supplement.
Okay. And they're like this big. They're this big.
Yeah, omega-3s.
Yeah, they're gross. Ugh.
There is a liquid form that you have to keep in the refrigerator. I've done that before too.
Okay.
There are some that have like a peppermint, that are peppermint infused.
Yeah.
So it helps with the taste, and like, you know, when I take them, sometimes I'll like burp and it'll have that fishy, and
yes.
The peppermint doesn't, it takes that away. So
okay.
It does help.
That's good.
Okay.
I get mine at Lifetime Fitness. They have the peppermint.
Okay. Because that was another, like, well, you're going to talk about nutrients later.
Yeah, no, what's your question though?
Oh, like the brand, because I've been told, like, oh my gosh, don't take this. That's not, this doesn't have it, blah, blah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's is a whole nother issue. There are a lot of bad brands out there. I use the Cooper Institute brand. You can get that at most stores. I really wouldn't get your vitamins from like the drugstore or grocery store, more at a reputable place, but they're so expensive. I'm still trying to find the best value because at Whole Foods, they're so expensive. Oh my word.
Yeah.
So
I wonder if you get online.
Cooper's I trust, because I of course went to him for school, and they're pretty inexpensive. I even think you can get Cooper's at some like Tom Thumbs and stuff.
Okay.
As an option.
There's also, Angie, do you know about Dr. Daniel Amen?
I do. I subscribe. I get his emails and newsletter.
He wrote a book called like Change Your Brain, Change Your Life. But he talks about, it's a very good read. But he also talks about how, you know, quality nutrients and supplements. And so that might be a good resource to go to as well.
I'm writing that down because I want to get it. Yeah. And then I read an article about getting pharmaceutical grade, and that's really hard to find, and that you can't even get that at regular stores. So I don't even know about that. That's a whole nother territory that I don't even know about. People are messing with us.
Well, I think the same goes for like medical marijuana, right? Like,
yeah,
you know, I don't know that anything's really proven, but if it makes you feel better, take it, right?
Oh, I got a friend's mom right now who has cancer, and has been treating it with nutrition and Western medicine, and did one round where she did some seriously hardcore medical marijuana, where literally she just slept for like months during the treatment, but it reduced the cancer so significantly that she felt tremendously better. And now she's going through another round, and the doctor's like, I don't know why this works, but and I can't officially recommend you to do this, but I would recommend you go do another round of marijuana because it worked just so well the first time.
Did she live
But she literally, I mean, like, she had to pack cash on her on the plane and go to Colorado and like buy it and like bring it back.
Okay, that's what I was gonna ask. How did she get it? Yeah.
She
because
snuck it in.
Yeah, you have to sneak.
Her family was on call, in case she got arrested. But I mean, that's what she had to do.
Yeah.
To treat herself.
Sad. Yeah.
Yeah, 2019. It'll be legal everywhere, I'm sure. I'm guessing. I think I heard that somewhere. All right. What else? What other questions do you have? Exercise was adding strength training to your workouts. There are a lot of other videos that I posted. Use or abuse or refuse them. That's kind of weird if you abuse them. All right. And then also gratitude. I mean, I feel like gratitude is a same song, 15th verse type of song. But I myself try to be grateful every day in my journal, and it's hard to be intentional about it. I think we talked about it last time, but I don't know.
Yeah. We try to do it at mealtime, just because you're going to eat a meal at least once a day. And, just saying thank you. It just feels good, I guess.
Right. Anyway.
I was telling Angie, one of the things that we do as a family that I do with our grandkids, I have a gratitude jar, just a big jar.
Yeah.
And we cut up little slips of paper. And so when they're here, we write down the date and what we're grateful for and our name on it, each one of us. And it goes in the jar. And then at Christmas, we read them.
Oh,
That's
great.
awesome.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah.
I love that.
You read them at Christmas. That's really good.
Yeah.
I'm going to implement that.
We don't see them on Thanksgiving, but we do it at Christmas. So.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I was going to say you could do it any holiday, right? Yeah.
We could do it any day, but yeah, it's just something that I'm trying to get the kids in the habit of being grateful other than just gimme.
I still need to do that with my nephews.
Yeah.
Too late for my kids. They're gone. I've ruined it. All right. So I'm going to let you know what's coming up in Module 5. It's all about adding value to asking and receiving. That's mindset. And then the next macronutrient is carbohydrates and sugar. So we're going to talk about that. Carbs.
I love them.
Me too.
Me too.
I need rehab.
And I even include some recipes. There's a ball workout, but again, you can, I think, get all of them if you go to my channel on YouTube. And then stress reduction is all about sleep. That Steve talked about, so it's perfect timing. And I didn't even realize I had a sleep issue until I studied it and with Dr. Sears, with the Dr. Sears Institute. Because he has you do this rule of threes test that you'll learn about. And lack of sleep, if you're doing everything right, you're exercising, you're eating right, your mindset is all good. Your stress is fairly low, but you're still hanging on to the weight. It's usually, you can always go back to sleep, amount of sleep you're getting and quality. So it's really important to get that quality sleep. That's when your body regenerates. I won't go into too much because it's all there.
I heard our current president sleeps 4 hours a night. Like he only says he needs 4 hours of sleep.
Right. Wow. Okay.
Well, based on what Steve said, he's reduced his cognitive abilities about 40%.
I don't have to say anything to that because Looks like that's what happened. All right. Well, it's 7:15. I don't want to keep you any longer unless you have anything. I'm here for you. I'll stay till 10 if you have questions.
This was so good today.
Yeah, thank you, Angie.
It really was.
Thank you so much.
Good. Well, keep up the great work. I'll send module 5 on Friday.
I have one question.
Oh, yes.
It won't take till 10 though. How often do you want us to send you back the spreadsheet? How often do you want that?
Oh, as often as you fill it out. That's fine. And if for some reason, tag me, bug me if I don't see it or do it. I apologize in advance, and just, text me if you need to and say, Angie. Accountability. Say one word in your text. Accountability. And I'm on it. I'll get on it.
Okay.
So yeah, as often as you want. Because I haven't received many of them. So.
Yeah, slack this week. I got to get back on it.
Yeah.
Don't feel guilty. No guilt feelings. I want you to feel opposite guilt. Opposite of guilt.
You don't think that tells you who the brown nosers are? Who the butt kissers?
It takes one to know one. I am definitely a brown noser. I love brown nosers. That's how I passed college.
Yeah.
True.
Great.
There's medication for that too, Angie.
Is it called wash off the nose?
Yeah, for those OCD tendencies.
All right. Anything else?
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you.
All right. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Bye, guys. See you next week.
Thanks.
Oh,
Yes.
I
Bye
won't.
now.
I'll listen. Okay, bye.
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 Bye.